I had the craziest God thing happen to me that I had to share because I'm still in awe of the Lord and how He comes through in ways that um, just astound me sometimes. So I had this trip planned to go visit my friend from high school who has a place in El Salvador, and she invited me, and I was so excited. And then the night before, I went to check in for my flight, entered my passport information, not thinking anything of it, and then I got an error message saying, enter a valid date. And I'm like, what? So I looked at my passport, and it was the blonde moment of the century. It was expired in August of 2025. And I'm like, are we for real right now? Is this happening? And I'm like, okay, maybe I'm, all right, Lord. I had to stop. And I'm like, okay. I talk all about, how sometimes God allows things to happen that for reasons we just don't understand. And I'm like, all right, Lord, if I'm not supposed to go, I totally trust that. I respect that. And so, but if there is a way, if you can make a way, please make a way. And so anyway, I looked up how could I possibly get a new passport. My flight was leaving, it was 9 o'clock at night, and my flight was leaving at 12:50 the next day. And so I'm like, there's just absolutely no way. But I'm like, all right, Lord, make a way where there seems to be no way. So the next morning, I went to the passport. There's only one passport office in all of like the DFW area in all of Texas that you can get a passport the same day, and it is in Dallas, an hour away from me. So I'm like, all right, let's give it a shot. It says I can't even get seen unless I have an appointment, and I didn't have an appointment, but I got all the stuff ready the night before, showed up at 8 a.m. as soon as they opened, and I walk in and there's a massive line of people from literally all over the world. I'm like, oh my gosh. And there was it was a line outside of the elevators to go up to where they do the passports. And there was someone like checking everyone's paperwork before they let them on the elevator to go up there and to check their appointment. And she got to me, looked at my paperwork, and she's like, what's your appointment time? I'm like, I don't have an appointment. I'm here for a Christmas miracle of some kind. And she's like, well, I'm so sorry, but like you can't be seen unless you have an appointment. And normally that takes like a day at least, or, some people have to book a couple weeks in advance. So anyway, she said, give me your number and I'll see what I can do. So I went and sat down in the lobby, and 10 minutes later, I get a phone call. There's an appointment at 9 o'clock. I'm like, nah. So, which is a miracle because there were so many people there. So I get back in the elevator line and make it up the elevator. And as I'm getting in the elevator, there was someone that worked there that was kind of letting people on before him. And I said, thank you so much. Merry Christmas. And everyone else kind of rude. But we got up to the top of the elevator and there was another line. And unbeknownst to me, this guy that I just said Merry Christmas to, not thinking anything of it, because I had this peace, like if I'm supposed to go, I'm going to go. And there was like no anxiety about it. It was like, all right, Lord, make a way where there seems to be no way, if you want me to go. Anyway, so I get up there and there's this big line just to get in the door again. And there was one person like at the front of the line that couldn't find her stuff. And he looked at me and he said, do you have your reservation number? And I had just gotten it. And I said, yes. And he brought me to the front of that line and let me in. And then I walk in and there's this massive amount of people waiting for their appointments too. And still, it's at this point, I think it's like 8:20 in the morning. Like it wasn't even 9 o'clock yet when my appointment was. So there were people at every window except for this one I was drawn to. Didn't have anyone there, and I just like walked up there, and she took my stuff and got me a ticket to be seen. And then I sat again and I was like, well, this is where it stops. Like this is where I'm gonna hit a wall. But 5 minutes later I get called in to like submit all of my paperwork and then wait for my passport. And I'm like, no way. And I said, so when does this usually happen? She goes, you probably get your passport this afternoon. I'm like, my flight leaves at 12:50. It's an international flight. I have to be there at least an hour beforehand, and it's 30 minutes from the airport. She goes, well, you may want to look at changing your flights. I said, okay, thank you. So I went back to the lobby and I was like, all right, Lord, you got me this far. If you want to make a way, make a way. But I trust you. But, whatever you want to do. So I'm sitting back in the lobby waiting for my passport to hopefully get called in, like to be done in time. And this couple sits down and they start talking to me and say, do you speak any Spanish? In Spanish. And I'm like, yeah, but it's rusty. Like, I don't use it as much as I should. And we talked for about 45 minutes, had the most God ordained conversation with these sweet people. And it was such a gift from the Lord. Honestly, I was just in awe. And I remember sitting there thinking after we were talking, is this why, Lord? Like, was I supposed to be here just for them? Like, to have this conversation about your goodness? Like, that's what we talked about, God's faithfulness, because they too were waiting on an impossible passport. And we're like, if we're supposed to go, we're going to go. And I said, I know, I believe God's in control of it all. And so it was just the sweetest conversation. So anyway, it's already like at this point 11:29, and I'm like, oh no, there's literally at this point I'm waiting and there's no way. And I'm like, I'm just gonna call and see if it's done yet or anywhere near being done. I call, I said, can you check? And she goes, you just had it done, there's probably no way that it's done yet. And then she looked and she goes, it's done. Get up there, girl. Go get your passport. I'm talking on the phone with one of the representatives. She was so sweet. So I go back up to the 11th floor, I asked for the passport, and she's like, it's not here. I'm like, oh my gosh, she just told me it's here. And she goes, well, maybe it's not in my pile yet. So I was able to get there before it even entered her pile, before the other line formed for all the other people that were coming to retrieve their passports. So anyway, miraculously get this passport. I fly to the airport in 30 minutes, get in this massive security line, and I'm like, there's no way I'm getting through this thing in time. Just no way. But I'm like, God, no. All of this there was no way, but you made a way in spite of it. So God, if you want me to go, let's go. And I made it. I made it to the point where everyone was boarding the flight by the time I got there, but I made it, and I'm here right now. Look at that. Isn't it pretty? You can't really see it very much, but just I sat, and after that, here's what's so cool. The verse of the day that I was just praising the Lord the whole way on the plane. Like, how did you pull this off, Jesus? This is impossible to get like a new passport, the morning of a flight. So only God. The verse of the day for that day said, blessed is she who has believed that the Lord would fulfill her promises to her. And I just was so grateful. And then this morning I continued reading, and it's really the song of Mary. Now, God did something really miraculous with Mary and Jesus, and I was reminded of that. My soul praises the greatness of the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Savior, because he has looked with favor on the humble condition of his servant. And then she says, the mighty one has done great things for me. And I just sat there and thought, God, of course, has done immeasurably more through the birth of Jesus. But like, I got to just taste a little bit of that beauty and goodness and fulfilling his promises and just trusting and having the rest that came from that. And so anyway, it was just this incredible experience, and I'm so incredibly thankful for what only he could have accomplished. And so now I'm gonna go enjoy El Salvador, because God is awesome. He's so kind. He does little things like that to remind us he's got you.